yeah, so basically I was just sitting there. I was just sitting here, and I just saw like a white filmy kind of misty filmy form, um, just kind of float in front of me and kind of just float up, and I felt like really like something had come out of me. You know, it felt like something had come out of me. Like I was looking at it. I'm actually filming. I was looking at it, and I just, yeah, I felt like something had left my body, and I was like, actually, literally said, physically said out loud, "That's not my spirit, is it?" Like, oh shit. My like, I felt just before that happened, I literally, my head went back here, and I just had like intense bright light burning here, and my head started going back like that, and it was stuck, and I thought, oh shit, I'm gonna die now. But like, I wasn't scared, but I just thought, oh, alright then, go on then. But then I'm always so negative, you know, and then this is, honestly, think positively. I was healing, that's the thing, it's flipping it on its head. So I was like that, and I was really, really charged of kind of, my brain was like, felt like it was being lit up, like here. And, but I was kind of jolting like that. And then after that happened, I felt, like I said, you know, it felt like something was leaving my body. And of course, I was like, immediately, like, just as it was happening, I was like, of course, being negative, of course. Some people might say realistic, but fuck realistic. If the world's realistic, I don't want to aim for that. So I felt like something lifting out. And when I realised that I wasn't dead, then my mind just flicked to, maybe that was like illness, maybe that was leaving my body, maybe that density, maybe that energy, maybe that years of trauma and physical manifestation that is just stuck energy, that is just distorted, because we are energetic beings, and we are, you know, multi-dimensional beings, and we are energy. So if energy informs matter, then we as energy can use our marvelous minds to inform the matter of our bodies and heal ourselves. And it's not that anyone would be special to do that, it's just waking up the inner technology that is in each and every one of us. And I've made it my mission and purpose to find out. You know, it's like, I guess I spent a lot of years messing myself up, and it's like, I'm not gonna die now, because I manifested it for such a long time, and then you get what you want, don't you? And then you don't want it anymore. You're like, oh no, I actually want to kind of live now. But then looking back through everything, I realised my entire life I programmed myself for death, because I felt bad, literally at the root and the essence of it all, because I felt bad about myself, because of the damage from that very young age, which is so critical before the age of 7, and that hardwires that pattern of lack, that separation, isolation, shame, guilt, that lower vibratory thing. And then from that point onward, you begin building that residual trauma that sticks in your cellular memory and obviously in your energetic field, and you just then draw all that more negative experience to you, and then create more trauma, and then more physical manifestations. And you know, it's just this unraveling, this learning about what it is to be human, and what it is to kind of perceive wellness and illness. And you know, for someone, me, who sought for so many years, like, it was comforting for me to be, I think from when I was a kid, my dad abused me a lot, And used to go around to my grand's and lay on her sofa, and when I was ill she made me soup. And my mum has a lovely heart, but she was a shit mother. She was terrible. She just didn't, she just not is not the motherly type. So that was comfort. So that was linked to that, you see. So being ill from that young age, I've done some deep work and gone back along the timelines. And my first root of addiction was being at my grandmother's house and watching her roll a cigarette and feeling really excited and comforted by that, because when my granddad used to shout at her, so when she was in a stress, a fear mode, a stress mode, I saw in my young traumatized child's mind, I saw her being comforted by that cigarette. So that was the root. And obviously, other trauma. So, I'd say the worst trauma for human health is sexual abuse, because that just is held in your body for a very long time, and then it just kind of pollutes everything, and you draw more and more things to you. So I think I've just drawn cancer around my body. I'm not allowed to know that, because I really pissed the medical establishment off 3 years ago. I'm over it. I mean, because look what they're doing to the world now. So really, it's it is what it is. It's a business, and if you're going to damage the business model, then you're disposable. Clearly, especially if you're like an ex-drug addict, and like you haven't got lots and tons of money, and you're no one really significant. But like, we're all significant, aren't we? We're all significant. We all deserve treatment. We all deserve love. We all deserve to be well. Maybe some people don't think that, but that's okay also, because that's your opinion and that's your right to have that choice and that opinion. So, long story short, just a long story short, I'm so bored of telling that story. Well, I haven't really told it much actually, but either way, medicine is a business, and I had yeast in my blood. I had a case against them, and basically ever since that point, the treatment and the kind of, it was obvious as I got iller and iller, and they were doing less and less and just really blatant obvious things, and I'd research things and I'd go, well, hang on a minute, and I thought, no, they can't be that inept, so I'd always done research about medicine, and I realised, oh shit, they're really doing this, aren't they? They're really fucking gonna let me die. So what's the option there? What's the option? Is to find your own medicine. And everyone can find their own medicine. You don't have to be dying to do it. In fact, I'd say it's a really, really good time to find your own medicine, because, medicine's become a bit monstrous, and it doesn't seem to me to be about healthcare, because, we've got pregnant women being turned away with myocarditis, because they haven't had an experimental medicine, So it's just a very, very strange time. And like, back to my experience with the medical system, so I've gathered loads of stuff to me, man. Like, I don't blame anyone. I own it all. I did it. I brought it to me. I was damaged. We're all so bloody damaged, aren't we? Even if you haven't been abused by your father, or, knocked up, or, being a drug addict and just been sold behind your back. If you haven't had all these crazy nonsense experiences, not nonsense because they were all rich and they were all experiences that were supposed to happen, but we're all traumatized, aren't we? Because look at the goddamn state of the world. We're all traumatized, hey? And I know, because I've made it my mission to pick apart that trauma. And so, I had Stockholm syndrome for such a long time, because I loved my father. I loved him. I idolized him. I mean, and I was doing that after he did the most awful things to me. I loved him still. He was like the best thing in my life. My mum went off when I was about 12, just before. So we were together, and when my brother and sister went off, we were just together, we were together, and that went on for so many years. And like, it was normal to me. So there's a huge amount of trauma, huge amount of like fractured, soul, fractured bits of the personality to what I've been working on all this time since he died and getting rid of. Because I believe, even though I've not been allowed to know what is wrong with me, I have lumps all in my neck. It all goes up around here. I've lost about 5.5 stone in weight. After my dad died, I was having lots of fits. I've had a heart attack. I've got lung disease. But there's just lumps everywhere. So, and I have a lot of pain, and now there's quite big masses and lumps in my stomach too. So, and the body just doesn't want food. So, for me at this time, but it's really, really important to go back and pick apart everything, because it's, I am the experiment. And then the point is, if I thought their medicine would help me, I would, I'd find a way to get private, to do this, to do that. Mind you, I have tried to get a private scan, and I can't even get in on that. Bizarre, because I thought if you had money and you had a referral, you could do that, but 6th time round, like, obviously not. So, if I thought that would help, do you know what? I'd go. And I'd find a way, but it's just not going to. So in my opinion, with my symptoms, which I don't dwell on or think about, because I'm always thinking forward to a time where I'm whole and healed, and just focusing on breath and quantum flow and just being still and being. So I don't feel, I am in my body, but I don't feel the pain, because you can vibrate higher and not suffer and not feel pain. There's so many tools that we can do, because I've suffered a lot in my life, a lot, and I attracted it and I reveled in it, because that's all I knew. All I knew was pain and darkness, and I was just like swam around in it and suffered and brought mental, emotional, physical, everything. So like, I know suffering, and that's why I'd like to share a bit of wisdom about health and also on healing, because if it's your exit point and it's your time to go, it's okay. It's okay, and there are such things. Healing is just not about being alive in this time, in this lifetime. If it's your time to go, healing means to clear all that darkness and all that density that is in your ancestral lines, for your mother, for your whole family line. Just wipe that trauma, and to have that peace in your heart and know that you don't have to come back and do it again and suffer another 1,000 lifetimes. I mean, since I woke up to everything, I can't particularly remember particular lives, but since my consciousness seemed to wake up very quickly, and that was just from a combination of the fits, so the the trauma being released, having everything at once, and then the death, everything just kind of, and being in that much prolonged trauma just does something to start rewiring the body, and forces you to go in, or just look outside and just look at external circumstance and go, oh, fuck it, I just think I'll die, actually. Fuck this. You know what I mean? Just fuck this laying on a brown sofa with flies on my face and not being able to move my head for like 3 hours. You have to go within. But people think I'm completely bonkers, and that's okay. All I know is that since I got really, really ill and literally broke myself until there was nothing left of myself, and that's when you start being able to look at and actually heal, and just look at the history of medicine, just look at really what works, all the cures for cancer, everything, and then just look at the business of medicine, and just the two don't correlate in a quantum universe, you know, because they're just playing with matter and form, and they're just playing, you know, with cut, paste and burn. And, you know, it's kind of like medieval, really, isn't it, when you think about it? If you're like working with quantum technologies and understanding that we live in a quantum universe and we are energetic beings, and, you know, that informs matter, and that obviously, you know, that's widely understood. So if we can look at ourselves and use that trauma to unlock something within ourselves that is so innate and so deep and in every single one of us, and that's our innate technology. That's our innate technology. And for me, and I've said this to a couple of people, it's like, can I release the trauma quick enough to heal and live, not heal and die? And I've let go of a lot of programs, and I've gone back a lot of timelines, and, you know, one of the times I went back, and there's a deep shame and a deep hate, and one of the times I went back, I was in my mother's womb, and my mother is very hurt by her first baby she lost, so she was just drenched in pain. She was literally drenched in fear and pain and anxiety, and I felt it in her womb. You know, I felt I was surrounded by it, just drenched. It just drenched every single part of me, and we worked on transmuting that. But there's just a very deep sadness and a deep cord to my mother and me, because this is, I feel, the last source of my healing. This is what I'll get back to, the form that I saw come out, and what my daughter said after that. I think this last form of healing, deep, deep down, I'm still that last little bit of that abused little girl, and I desperately want my mum to see me dying and not look at me and, you know, and avoid me because it upsets her, or, you know, she has so much deep pain, and I've wanted to help her. I've wanted to teach her the techniques that I know and things, but she doesn't see me because she's too lost in her own pain. So the only way forward for that kind of healing is to love from a distance, and know that when I heal myself, that will clear her pain, and to just disconnect from that energy, because I understand what it is to be addicted to that suffering and that pattern, that victimhood, and I am not judging at all. I did it for a very long time, a very, very long time, but I don't want to be a victim anymore, and I'm not going to be a victim. And I'm also not going to make my mum feel better about making her feel uncomfortable, you know, like my demise, you know. I'm not going that far. That's done, you know. That's the ultimate humiliation, isn't it? So, you know what, it's really interesting, because even I'm speaking these words because I've never been this honest. I've done videos, but, you know, now I'm starting to be honest, because this is what I talk about, like, put your money where your mouth is. Healing through expression, that's about actually doing it, isn't it? Not just healing through a bit of expression. Heal through half of an expression, a quarter, like, but then, you know, just keep some back, you know,